What's up, guys? Welcome to the first episode of Wednesday Wellness, where we are going to talk about wellness topics, physical, emotional, mental health, all things wellness related. So, I want to start off by saying one of the most important things that I can regarding your wellness: go see your doctor. Go see the doctor. Seriously. I know not everybody can go. Not everybody has health insurance. Not everybody has the ability to go when they need to go. I get it. I've been there, and we'll definitely talk more about that subject as well. But right now I'm talking about those people that have insurance and or the ability to go, and you just don't. You're just procrastinating. Like, the last thing that you want to procrastinate about is your health. You have one life. One. And why we don't get this, I don't know, but this is the only one that we've got. If you've got issues going on, please go see your doctor. It matters. As for me, I had gone years without seeing a doctor, pretty much my whole young adult life. I just didn't have insurance the majority of the time. But even after I finally got a good job with insurance, I don't think I saw a doctor for about 4 years. And I only went once my symptoms were so bad that they were unbearable. I always had an excuse. I was too busy. I didn't have the money for a copay. My symptoms weren't that bad. Or I was embarrassed. I figured it would get better on its own, or, they're not going to do anything but tell me to lose weight, or, I'll wait until I lose weight. Anyway, yada yada. So it was 2018 when I finally went to my primary with a whole list of problems that I was having. I'm sure she was happy with me. Anyway, one of my biggest things at that time was this sharp pain underneath my rib cage. And why you would ignore a pain under your rib cage, I don't know, but I went for I don't know, almost a whole year being in severe pain and just kept hoping it would go away. So come to find out, after some tests, I actually have an enlarged spleen, and they have no idea why. It's severely enlarged. So the doctor's don't get into a car accident, don't get punched in the stomach, don't do any extreme, workouts, be careful. She explained it it's like a balloon, it could just explode, and then you'll just have internal bleeding and die. So thanks a lot for that. So anyway, they're still trying to figure out what's wrong. I guess a spleen is too sensitive to actually biopsy. So they're well, we could just take it out and then biopsy it, but then you have issues with not having a spleen. So I've chosen to leave it in for now, but whatever. I was feeling lethargic and sick for a long time. Come to find out, I was severely anemic, and to the point to where when I went in, they were considering we may have to do a blood transfusion because you're pretty bad. I was done. So they started with an iron infusion, had to do a few treatments of that. Thankfully that worked. I guess temporarily, so I have to go in a few times a year and continue with iron infusion treatments because I just can't hold iron. So in 2020 we started working from home, March that year, due to COVID, like most people. While it was terrible circumstances that we ended up working from home, that was the best thing that could have happened to me as far as my health goes. Because for me, my stress went down 1,000%. I've always had really high anxiety in the office. I think just stepping foot into the building, my blood pressure goes up. And I don't know why, but it's just something about being in that environment has always just been super stressful for me. So stress has been, for me, the number one factor with me struggling with my weight. And so in some research that I had done, actually found out that stress can actually prevent you from losing weight. Anytime that I've ever had a reduction in my stress, I've been able to start losing a little bit of weight. Anytime I've experienced high stress, I always gain weight. And while yes, my diet has been affected with that too, anytime I've ever adjusted my diet and still had high stress, I could not lose weight for anything. But I came home that year just from working from home. Yes, I changed my diet. I had already kind of adjusted it before we started coming home anyway, but I adjusted my diet. I was able to be a little bit more active. I was feeling 1,000 times better being at home. Between March of that year and December, I lost 80 pounds. And I wasn't like working out a lot, you know what I mean? And I wasn't perfect with my food changes, but 80 pounds is more than I've ever lost in my entire life at one time. So I think the most I had ever gotten to was like 40, maybe pushing 50 pounds, but 80 in less than a year was crazy for me. And I wasn't even trying that hard. So it was kind of proof to me that stress, again, is that thing that is really holding me back. So another thing that I'm really working on, obviously, is reducing my stress. Unfortunately, with the good comes the bad, because also in that year, around September, I started to have some issues with my vision. Started to get super blurry. I'm gonna try to, if I can figure out how to edit this video, I want to try to adjust this to where I can show you what it was that I started to see. Because it's obviously hard to say you started to like lose your vision, like no one really knows what you're talking about. So anyway, initially I first thought that, you know, maybe I was overdue for my eye exam. So I went to the eye doctor, got new glasses, everything was fine. And then like within a month, I started losing my vision again, and those glasses didn't work. And it got so bad that I couldn't even make out faces. So again, you know, threw me into another depression because I was terrified. I had no idea what was going on. I thought I was going blind. And I'm like, I'm never gonna see again. And I know there's like all these advances in technology, but trust me, I was not thinking about what can the doctor do for me. I was thinking this is going to be permanent, and I was scared to death. So anyway, I ended up seeing my primary again and found out that I actually had type 2 diabetes, which I had never been diagnosed with before. I had known that I was insulin resistant for a long time, but I guess I was like twice what the level is for like being diabetic. So it was pretty bad. And I guess when you have diabetes, like they can cloud your vision and things like that. So they put me on some medication. Thankfully that cleared up and went back to normal. For the most part, my vision is still not what it was before I was diagnosed, but I have been able to get my A1C back to pretty much normal. So I'm like right at that borderline of diabetic pre-diabetes. So yeah, even though I had changed my diet, not realizing the issue with the diabetes, I was doing like a lot of smoothies, like protein smoothies with a lot of fruit in there. I was doing, you know, like vegetables that had high carbs, which I didn't realize, you know, rice and things like that. So even though I had changed my diet, the sugar and carbs were like still super high. So it just, not to mention, I was like downing at least 2 Monster energy drinks like every single day. Yeah, so it threw everything out of whack. I broke myself essentially. And they put me on this medication. I stopped drinking those dang energy drinks immediately, and had to start adjusting my diet, which again, I have not been great at all, but I'm working on it. So at least I'm back to normal. Also that year, actually it was right about the same time I was just checking out everything, right? So I went for a well woman check, and they told me that I had an enlarged thyroid. So they were a little bit concerned about the size of that. And which, let me just say, was another thing that I didn't go see a doctor for when I was having issues. So I was having trouble swallowing, and I knew it just didn't feel right. It always felt like I had a lump in my throat. And I had started like choking on stuff more. Stuff just wouldn't go down when I tried to swallow. It would just get stuck. And so, like, duh, go see somebody. But, you know, I didn't do that. So anyway, at the Well Woman Check, they said you have an enlarged thyroid. Go get an ultrasound done. They did the ultrasound. They found a couple nodules that they were pretty concerned with. So I had to go in for a biopsy. They biopsied both those nodules, and it came back not cancerous. However, due to the fact that it basically didn't work anyway, or it was gonna be completely shot soon, and it was giving me so much trouble with swallowing and things like that, I just decided to go ahead and have the surgery and just have it fully removed. So they did that December, and after they removed it, we ran some more tests, did another biopsy, and then it came back that it actually was cancerous. So I'm so super grateful that I went ahead with that surgery and had it taken out, because it definitely could have spread. So after the surgery, they believed that there was like minimal risk of it actually having seeped out and and spreading, but they did recommend radiation as a precaution. It was totally voluntary. So it wasn't going to be required again because they figured that they got it all, but that was going to be up to me. So I had made a decision that I was going to go forward with the radiation, and I was due for that in March of 2021. The weekend before I was scheduled to go for radiation, I found out I was pregnant. So radiation was put on hold. And I will tell you that backstory in another video. But anyway, so far there haven't been any signs of the cancer returning, so radiation will continue to be put on hold, but I do have to go back like every 6 months and be monitored for that. So continue to pray that all remains well and that nothing comes back as far as the cancer is concerned, or anything else for that matter. But even knowing the importance of regular checkups, like I still do struggle with not procrastinating and not like pushing back these appointments because I'm busy, so stuff is going on. Again, trying to knock out these excuses. So I want to push that for myself, but I also want to push that for you guys as well. We have one life, guys. Like, let's take care of ourselves. And even if you haven't been taking care of yourself, it's not too late to start because you're still here. So while we are still here and we still have the opportunity, please, let's get ourselves together. Even if we've got to take some baby steps, let's start taking care of ourselves. So, another thing, like I said before, that I've struggled with is my weight. And while I know that that may not be the main cause of the issues that I've had, it definitely plays a part in making things worse. So while we're going to be talking about all sorts of wellness topics here, you're going to hear a lot of weight loss topics as well, because that's a big part of what I'm dealing with. So, but again, with weight, a lot of people have the misconception that weight is just about weight. It is just about diet and exercise, and it's really not, because most people who deal with weight issues are also dealing with emotional and mental and probably some other physical problems as well. And so it all plays a part in that struggle. So I want to make sure that we're touching on all of these topics and that people really understand what others are going through is far deeper than just what they're looking at on the outside. So I'm going to go ahead and wrap that up for today. We'll get into some deeper topics later down the road in the future videos. But yeah, one last reminder, go see your doctor. So, all right, I will see you guys next week.